and let your blade be an extension of your spirit. Remember, justice is forged in the shadows.
Assassin's Creed Shadows, available now.
Well, first off, let me start off by saying, hey, how you doing? My name's Terrell Royster with Big Gold Belt Media. How you doing today?
Very good. This, just so you know, this is Alexis and I'm Joe.
Joe and Alexis, how are you?
Good, man.
Together we are the Fly.
We're good. We've just got back from Canada. We were out at the dev launch of the game, which was really exciting. So we're a little bit jet lagged, but we're good, man.
Well, look, I definitely appreciate you for taking the time to be able to do this interview with me today. I obviously have a ton of questions. I've been up all night myself because I was playing the game at 12 o'clock midnight.
Excellent.
Because I wanted to get a good insight of what this world felt like and how you guys kind of orchestrated the music to that. But before we get to that, I want to ask what led you to this project? Obviously, you guys that came from Odyssey, but you know, Assassin's Creed was normally an annual game. But you know, not necessarily you would have gotten from one game to the next, but what led you to want to do feudal Japan, you know, with Shadows, and you know, and what brought you to this project?
Well, like you say, it's a long process. I mean, yeah. So we've done Odyssey before, but this one, I think everyone who's an Assassin's Creed fan, there was a lot of everyone wanted one set in feudal Japan.
Yeah.
And so when we heard about the project from Ubisoft Quebec and asking us to pitch on it, we were like, yeah, we've got to do that.
We need of all the ones. It's like, okay, this is the one.
Yeah.
This is the one that we want to get onto
because we knew how much the fans wanted it, and
Right.
but it's just a really cool
world to be in.
world to be in.
Yeah.
And it should suit you've been playing it. It should suit the story really well.
Absolutely. Like you had just mentioned, like Japan has definitely been on the Assassin's Creed location list for some time. And, you know, every year we thought we were going to get it. It was like, oh, we're going back to Rome or we're going to Egypt. Like, and, you know, when they finally announced this game, not only, you know, did we find out we were getting one, you know, a brand new, you know, protagonist, but we were getting two, which is not new to Assassin's Creed. But, you know, we're getting a black protagonist, Yasuke. You know, I was over the moon about it, especially with how far we've come with the Assassin's Creed game so far.
Yeah.
It is the first game where you can actually they're equal. They're equal.
You can jump between. You don't, like on Odyssey, you can choose at the beginning. But and on Syndicate you can play as there are some where you can play as two, but this is the one where it's even. You can jump between the two as you wish.
So that is a really big.
It's a cool thing,
new thing, isn't it? Yeah.
So I guess the game's out now. We can talk about it, but when did you know? Like, did you know like immediately after Odyssey that you were getting this, or this was like
no? So we finished Odyssey in 2018. When did Odyssey came out in 2018? Didn't it?
Oh, yeah. I want to say 22, maybe.
What we remember is we always remember when we come on to something, but obviously that's like between 18 months and 2 years before the game comes out. But yeah, Odyssey came out. No, then we went off and we did Horizon Forbidden West, and we did Gotham Knights, and we did a TV show called Lockwood Co. But then at the end of that, we were talking to Jerome, who was the music supervisor on Odyssey, and he said, "Oh, you guys around at much moment?" And we said, "Oh, actually, you know what? We're finishing something." So, but even then, it wasn't absolutely, you know, even having done an Assassin's Creed before and it being successful and people liking it, everything like it doesn't get you the next one.
No,
that we still had to pitch against. I don't know how many other composers, but we still had to pitch against some other composers.
And they do a blind pitch when it's called a blind pitch when they sit the creative leads, the leads of the game down, and they play the music to them without knowing who it is. So they didn't know when they went through the pitches, they didn't know our pitch was by us. And actually, they were saying that they thought somebody else's was, and they didn't use it. But they didn't know our music was by the flight, so they just went purely on the music, which was lovely actually.
Yeah, which is it's quite good to know, because although we have done a few things, you don't want to be picked on just reputation.
No,
you want to be picked on what you're going to do for the game, because
yeah.
these games are a lot of work, and the pitch process is as much for us.
Yeah.
As it is for them. They've got to choose who to work with, but we've got to choose, do we want to do this project?
Yeah.
This is like 2 years of our working life.
Yeah.
We need to be sure about the things that appear on our, the list of things we've done. We need to keep that up to a level that we want to be known for. But also we want to make sure that they like, we do our pitch as a kind of a small version of how we think the game should sound, or at least our side of it, the original score side of it. And so if someone really digs that, likes it, then you're kind of on the first couple of steps anyway.
It's sometimes difficult to get on a job if you haven't been pitched. It's sometimes you come in, you've been asked to do something, you come onto a project, and if you haven't pitched for it, you spend a long time trying to find your thing. Yeah. So we've already kind of said, this is our vibe, this is the kind of thing we're going for with this game. So it's quite quick then to get into the process of getting the music ready.
Yeah, it's like you've taken the first step on the board already.
Yeah, I absolutely love the attitude you have, and in this world of hand-me-downs and nepotism, you guys still have the mindset of we're gonna earn this. Like, you know what I mean? Just because we did the last game don't mean we get in the next. Even though I think you deserve it, in my personal opinion. Like,
no, but they are so different. The Assassin's Creed games, they have a thread running through them, but the reason they've managed to, last for so long and done so many different I mean, I think this is like number 14 in the main.
Yeah, they show you right off the beginning of the game how many like different Assassin's Creeds like there were.
They keep fresh, they keep reinvented because each one's got set in a different place at a different time.
Yeah,
so you've got the score is going to be different. You can't just do what you did for that one but just change some of the instruments. It's not going to work. This is set in much more modern
era
time period, as well as not just being in Japan rather than being in ancient Greece. This is set in the 1500s, isn't it?
This is right in the era where they the Portuguese trade. If you just recently watched Shogun, it's pretty much following that story with a couple tweaks to it. So
it's really not that long ago. It's really not that actually. No. In terms of history, it's not that long ago. They've got guns.
Yeah, he definitely got guns because I got shot quite a bit last night. I thought I could block bullets. That's not that type of game.
You can't parry. Parry.
Right. So, what did you already know from the beginning for the both of you, like kind of the direction of sound that you wanted to go this, or did you have like storyboard? Did they have like all the animation and everything done first for you, or you just kind of threw the music and they kind of animate around what you have?
You mean once we're actually on the game, or when we were kind of working out what we were doing at the very beginning?
Well, a little bit of both. Like, so I'm like trying to figure out, did they give you the game first, or you gave them the music first and they animated to with the music that you had?
We get when you've pitched, because they don't fully NDA you until you're on.
Oh yeah.
You get an idea of what the game when it's set and some of the game, but we sit down together and we do a lot of brainstorming together. And what does this mean to us?
Yeah, as our musicians, because they tell us what it means to them.
Yeah.
To the games company, but we as musicians with having listened to music for 40 years.
Yeah, our own influences. How does, when somebody says this to you, what does it mean? And we first thing we're talking about was how Japanese culture has influenced Western culture,
modern Western culture.
And looking at modern popular culture and how it's been influenced by Japanese, anime, movies,
popular music,
visually and musically. And we sat down and we started. The first thing we did was we put on Ghost Dog, which is one of our favorite films, and we
Forrest Whitaker, right? Yeah, classic.
One of our favorite films, and we sat down with that. We watched some Kurosawa. We was talking,
but also like Kill Bill,
and Seven Samurai, and then how Seven Samurai influenced the westerns, and we were looking at spaghetti westerns, and so it was a really rich soup of influences that we just ourselves were talking about, and then we presented that back to them, saying this is what this means to us.
Because they said very early on, they're going to handle the diegetic music. It's going to be these bands as well. We want you to make a modern contemporary score. We're like, that's what we want to do as well. They want influences from these certain Japanese traditional instruments, to tie it in with the world and tie it in with the diegetic music and everything like that. But at heart, Assassin's Creed is a science fiction franchise. And that's what we wanted the heart of this score to be: contemporary sounding and dark. It's a gloomy story. This is not a happy story. Both protagonists have a tragic story, and so the music is. There are moments of beauty, and it was quite funny because we were the last interview we did. The interviewer said that he liked listening to the music. It made him feel really calm and relaxed. And we were thinking, we've just written like 3 hours of like dark fight music, but yeah,
there is beauty in the world. There's moments of contemplation as well. So,
but there's a lot of tragedy in this story as well.
Yeah, they throw it right at you at the beginning of the game. They do not waste no time letting you digest that at all, especially from both sides. And comment what you just said. Like even last night as I was playing it from to 4 a.m, I had it was scenes where I just kind of just stood there and I had my headphones on and I just kind of just sat down and let it play because the tone, the ambience, of just certain scenes just flow so well. But luckily for me, you could just go and find your entire album located on Apple Music and everything right now. And you guys got over 59 tracks on there right now.
It's a long. This is one of those things now. So we're always surprised. We always when we were kids, a soundtrack album would come out and it would fit on one record or one CD. It would be just. It wouldn't be everything. It would just be key tracks that you remembered and the needle drops as well. But now when we're doing game scores and they ask us what you want on the album, we do a list of 10 20 or 30 tracks, and then they say, no, guys, the players, they want to hear everything you did.
We were looking on Spotify, ego looking on Spotify. We looked on the Spotify and you could see people have listened all the way to the end of the album, and that blows our minds that people, and people when they play games, there are moments that are very personal to them, and because games are an active form of entertainment rather than a passive one. So movies you sit down and watch, or TV, or you're actually one of the characters. So music really does touch people personally, and it's amazing to see how affected they are and loyal people are to their franchises and their games, and it's brilliant.
But Assassin's Creed has always been known for it's got some great scores through its history. Really, really good scores, and we've been to a few of the concerts where they play a bit from each game in timeline order, and it's got really rich musical kind of
all the composers from Jesper to Lorne and Sarah Schachner, and when we first got Odyssey, it was like, oh wow, okay, this is Assassin's Creed. It was a big deal for us.
Yeah, a bit intimidating.
That I remember seeing the trailer of the first game and calling my brother, going, "Oh my god, you've got to see this game!" And then the music on the Assassin's Creed games are amazing. So it was quite a thing to get the first one.
Yeah.
So out of you, Joe and Alexis, who's the bigger gamer?
We both. Currently,
probably Joe.
I play my daughter's 11, so she's, apart from playing Roblox, which I'm not she plays a lot of games, and we sit down, a lot of couch co-op games we play together, and I'm going to turn off all the beheadings and but we'll sit down and I'll do all the boss battles and she'll play through a lot of this game. But we realized though, I've been alive for basically the entire history of computer games, which is, I remember playing, the Atari Pong.
Yeah.
I'm a bit younger.
He's a bit younger than me, but these games blow my mind. When I sit down with my, when we first see games, I sit down with my daughter. This stuff I think it's incredible.
Yeah, it's you've got to put in a lot of time commitment now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot. And I think I played, when I was a kid, I played a lot of games until I started making. Until I got into realizing you could make music using computers and stuff, and then when I had computer time, it got replaced by making music.
Yeah.
But of course, no, we try and stay up to date with what's going on in the games industry, because there's always like loads of cool stuff coming out, and that we should kind of listen to and make
I've got a Steam,
know what's going on.
I've got a Steam Deck, and that has helped. So
Steam Deck's awesome.
Yeah, they're amazing. And when we travel, I always bring it with me, and I try and play, and it also means I can sit at home while other things are happening, and I can sit and play. And stuff as well.
I did play through Odyssey with my son, but that was in lockdown.
Oh yeah,
that gave you a lot more time.
Yeah.
He's a bit older now, and perhaps going out a bit more.
I've done about 10% of Odyssey. I've done 2% of Horizon. It's a big time.
They're like 70-hour games, man. like you said, it's a time commitment. I find the irony of being an adult and being able to buy these now without hesitation, and constantly never having the time to finish it. And that's got to be like on my biggest list of like, I just wish I got to start taking staycations through the year where like, okay, I'm just going to be off for a week and I'm going to do nothing but play video games.
We do actually know people who do that, don't we?
Yeah,
in the industry, because also, when you get people who are working for one particular developer, they are playing or on one game the whole time. When they get home, the last thing they want to do is turn the PS5 on and play other games. Yes. But you have to stay in touch with what's going on. Yeah. And so I know people who do. They'll take 2 weeks off and play it.
Games. The
only time I ever had enough time to do everything I wanted to do was in lockdown, and that was rubbish for different reasons, wasn't it? So,
I don't think we appreciated the lockdown time as well as we did. People were panicking, but it was a good time for me. I got a lot of games finished at that time. A lot of TV was caught up on.
We were doing childcare in the day, and then we were working on 2 games in the evening.
Oh wow!
Yeah, but you couldn't go out, could you? So I did do Odyssey all the way through. Yeah, and that's a long game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. For the Shadows soundtrack for the music, was there a particular order? Because I'm looking at the arrangement of it right now.
Yeah. So Ubisoft, they always try and do the soundtracks in kind of playing. It's kind of like a journey through the game.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how they.
But when we're working on them, we don't necessarily work in that way, in that order. We're a lot of it's what is completed, or what it depends where the development is on each of the levels, and they don't come in the order that we work them on.
But it's a different companies, different labels do different things. Like the Horizon Forbidden West soundtrack, that was more grouped around. That was a bit grouped around stages in the game, but more grouped around kind of areas of the game and kind of feelings rather than this is supposed to, if you can sit down and listen to it for 2.5 hours without like going to the toilet or eating or anything, then you should get a feeling of the game from beginning to end.
I listened to the score between Quebec and Montreal.
Yeah, which is actually like almost the perfect length on a bus. Yeah.
Listen to it.
So after listening to the completed album, was there anything now after listening to it did you feel like maybe we could have did something different, or you feel unhappy with? But
it is when you've just finished something is the worst time to listen back to it. I always have to, I listen to that, maybe a couple of months ago when we were working out the orders and the mastering and everything like that. And to be honest, it's when you've just finished something and you listen back to it, it sounds awful. It's terrible. It's like, but that's not when you judge it. Like in a couple of years' time, once we've done another project and then go back to that, that's when I'll hear it properly the first time. And like I was saying, when I played Odyssey in lockdown, a couple of years after it had come out, I listened to it and I went, "Oh, we did a really good job on that. Yeah, that sounds really good." Yeah, but at the time, no.
You can remember all the process. You can hear it in layers rather than as pieces of music. So it doesn't. It's not a good thing to do. But I do admit doing it between Montreal and Quebec.
But it's the thing as a professional. There's a lot of things that being a professional ruins. And when you listen to a piece of music long times, you've got to listen to it over and over again in order to get it as good as you possibly can. But that's never going to be. It's never going to be as good as you want. You absolutely want it to be. Like I think if we ever got a track to being like,
that's perfect,
then I think you're kind of done because I think that's what keeps pushing us on.
It's the next project. It's what we learn on each project. We take to the next one, and then we're
just pieces, isn't it? You get the piece sounding. I want to get this piece sounding as good as I can, and then
you have to let it go.
Yeah, you've got to let it go. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like as from the point, like you said, of any creative, like you never feel like you're fully done. Like there's always something that you could tweak, and you'll drive yourself crazy. So you pretty much answered that question. Like, when do you feel like, this is the point where we put a pin in this, let's move on?
That is what being a professional composer, producer is. That's we've both worked with loads of really great people in our kind of journey to get here, and that's you get influence from, and that I think is one of the key things. If you learn that, if you want to be a composer or producer, and when to say, right, that's done, that's one of the key things, because there are some people who just can't let things go, and I think that makes life very difficult.
Well, obviously, collectively, as the Flight, you guys have a plethora of different work here. But do you feel like you kind of want to stay in the realm of video games exclusively going forward, or you just kind of whatever comes past your desk that you feel like you have an interest in?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's as much the project as the people on the project, and it's whatever comes past. If it excites us, then we're
we love working the games world. We love the way they work and the length of the projects and the fact that you can really get into them in that time. That is brilliant, and that it is still a relatively new industry that's not completely set in its ways. The two of us would have found it very difficult breaking into a Hollywood film, for instance. From where we started, because we don't live there, and we weren't assistants to composers or anything like that. So the games industry, I think, although it maybe took a chance on us in our first couple of games, but it's an industry that's still being shaped, and I think that really appeals to us.
Every game we go on, there's something. Everyone, they're all excited about it. There are industries where you go in and they're kind of everyone's they're just putting in they're clocking in the hours and they're getting things done. But games industry is and the fans as well. Everyone's so excited and enthusiastic.
Yeah, it's still young. It's still things are still changing. I think that's really good. It means there's room to be able to push things. But having said that, exactly what you said, we write music, and music for it doesn't actually matter to us whether it's music for a game or music for a non-interactive. It's as long as if we like the project as much as the people who are making it, and vibe off it and think, or we could add to that, then we'll get involved. Do
you guys have like kind of like in the back of your mind a fear of like where like AI is taking place, kind of taking over certain things?
It not so much, not selfishly. I think it's an interesting time. I worry about the next generation. I worry about young people becoming. I'm worried about us running out of professionals. I don't know how people are going to learn to become professionals if if music for, let's say, for ease, like for YouTube or daytime TV, where that our bread and butter if you came out of college or kind of out of school, first thing you would do is work with your peers or work with TV shows during the day, and that looks like it could be affected by AI. But also,
but having said that, look, we both have the same feeling about this. We don't want music to be made by AI, because what makes music special to us is the human beings that make it. Yeah. But realistically, some music is going to get made by AI, just like some books are going to get made by AI and some films are going to get made by AI in the future. Right. The job that I started off in the music industry doesn't exist anymore, and but I'm still working. You still, if you're smart and you want to stay in this industry for a long time, and you got the talent and you got the business and nous as well, then you have to keep going. You've got to go with the times. You can't just stay there and go, well, that's awful. You've got to just keep moving. We all do as creatives. Look, we don't. I said what I thought. I don't personally want that happening, but as professionals, we've got to keep moving. You've got to be realistic, and
also when I was a kid, the job that we're doing for games didn't exist. When I was young, without computers, I wouldn't be able to write music for computer games. So there'll be something else. We could talk about this over a pint sometime.
Right.
There will always be avenues, and there are uses that AIs. You were saying that AI is really good in science and in the world of healthcare,
education. It's going to transform.
But
a lot of those areas.
I like music made by people. I think songs need to mean something.
But we have to. Technology moves really quick, and like Joe said, we would not, if we had been born 30 years before we were born, we wouldn't be in the music industry, because we're not, we got in because we were good with harnessing the early days of not even early days, but like the using logic, using samples, using programming in order to be able to do things with music that you couldn't do before. And so there will be, people starting off now will be doing music in different ways that we wouldn't know how. So
So look, I'll wrap it on this quick question for Alexis and Joe. I collect video game vinyl, the music stuff like that, very specific ones. Do you guys have any plans, or do you know if Ubisoft has any plans to release a collector's edition or anything for the Assassin's Creed Shadow soundtrack?
We don't know what's happening. There have been Assassin's Creed vinyls in the past.
I would hope that there will be. They will release.
But we don't. We never. We don't know. There have been vinyls in the past. So watch this space.
I would
be likely.
I'd be hopeful, because most big games now do get a release on vinyl, and they're not. It's nice having an actual object, isn't it? We always.
Do you listen to it?
I do.
Good.
They're expensive, but I definitely I'll have my credit card ready.
No, but I'm sure that some people just put them on display.
And that's fair enough as well. It's nice to have a physical, especially
they put them on the wall and frames.
Do they actually really need to
press it?
Could you just sell?
Of course they do.
Like when you get gold discs, and they haven't. That's not a real record.
No, it's such a shame.
Well, look, guys, I definitely appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do this interview with me today. I learned a lot about, of course, what you do. Excited to play more of Assassin's Creed Shadows today. I'm still tired from playing it last night. I can't wait to
get some sleep first, because you can't.
I got to sacrifice something, but
yeah, exactly.
But thank you so much. Again, the flight, ladies and gentlemen, did an amazing job with this. I've been waiting so long for Assassin's Creed to go to Japan, and I feel like you guys scored it perfectly so far. From what I hear, you did an amazing job, and I'm listening to it in my car now with music right now. So I'll definitely this will be the soundtrack of the week for me.
Excellent. Thanks so much. Yeah, it was great talking to you.
You too. Thank you so much.